The sun rose over the Interstellar Academy, its golden light falling on the wide training fields where alien students gathered for physical education. The field was full of beings from different planets, some tall and glowing, some small and scaly, some with wings that shimmered in the light. Among them was Xyra, a limbless alien girl. She had smooth, pearly skin that reflected colors like oil on water, and large, deep eyes that could show her thoughts even without words. Today, like every day, she was going to try her best, but she already felt nervous. She rolled forward on her lower body, trying to keep up with the others. The obstacle course was set up for beings with arms and legs, not for someone like her. Still she tried. Her movements were slow and clumsy, but she did not give up. She wanted to prove herself. A group of students nearby noticed her struggle. They were taller, stronger, and faster. One of them, a winged alien with sharp feathers, pointed at Xyra and laughed. "Look at her. She can't even roll straight," he shouted. Others joined in, their laughter echoing across the field. "Pathetic," another one called. "How did she even get here?" Xyra felt the words cut through her like ice. She had grown used to being different, but the cruelty of others never got easier. She kept her head high, pretending not to care, but inside, her heart pounded. She wanted to disappear, to hide where no one could see her weakness. She focused on the next obstacle, a low ramp that all the other students climbed easily with their hands and feet. She approached it slowly, her body sliding and twisting to try and get up. Her movements were awkward. A few students whispered to each other, making jokes about how funny it looked. "Come on, Xyra, maybe roll faster," someone called. "Or do you need a spaceship to help you?" Xyra bit her lip. She wanted to scream at them, to tell them to stop, but she knew it would make things worse. She had learned that standing up to bullies sometimes only brought more ridicule. Instead, she concentrated on the ramp. Her body trembled as she tried to push herself forward, inch by inch, but the effort seemed useless. From the corner of the field, a human boy watched. His name was Jace. He was not the strongest or the fastest. In fact, some aliens thought humans were weak and ordinary. But he had a sharp mind and a strong heart. He noticed how the other students mocked Xyra and felt a burning anger inside him. It was not fair. No one deserved to be laughed at for simply existing. Jace's eyes followed Xyra as she struggled. He noticed how determined she was, how she refused to give up even when everyone around her thought she should. That courage made something stir inside him. Humans were different, but that difference often meant seeing what others could not. He decided then that he could not just watch. Meanwhile, Xyra finally made it partway up the ramp. Her movements were slow and jerky. Sweat, or the alien equivalent, shined on her skin. The students around her were shouting more insults, some even throwing small objects in fun, though nothing hurt her. The ridicule, however, stung worse than any object could. One of the students, a tall alien with glowing eyes, stepped forward and said, "Why even try? You'll never make it." He smirked as the others laughed. Xyra's eyes welled up, but she blinked rapidly to hold back tears. She would not give them the satisfaction of seeing her cry. Jace stepped closer. He could feel the tension in the air, the cruel energy surrounding Xyra. His heart beat faster. He knew he had to do something. But first he needed a plan. Just rushing in might make things worse. He needed to show everyone something they had never expected. Xyra finally collapsed at the top of the ramp, unable to climb any further. She lay there for a moment, catching her breath, feeling embarrassed and exhausted. The students laughed louder, making jokes about her failure. For the first time that day, Xyra felt completely alone, like no one could ever understand her. But Jace did not laugh. He stayed there watching her with calm eyes. Unlike the others, he saw her strength instead of her struggle. He noticed the fire in her eyes even as she trembled. He knew that she was not weak. She was brave and she deserved help, not ridicule. The mockery continued around them, but a small change had begun. One human boy, unnoticed by everyone else, had decided he would not let this continue. And in that quiet determination, the first spark of something incredible was about to happen. Something that would show everyone that humans were not just ordinary beings, that courage and heart could shine in ways others could never imagine. Xyra did not know it yet, but the day that had begun with mockery and pain was about to change forever. Jace watched Xyra struggle on the ramp. The laughter of the other students echoed in his ears, sharp and cruel, but he did not flinch. He could see the pain in her eyes, the way she trembled and tried not to cry. His human instincts told him that he could not let this continue. He stepped closer, feeling the strange pull of responsibility that humans often felt when someone was suffering. The aliens around him barely noticed. To them, humans were small, weak, and unimportant. They assumed he would do nothing like every human before him. That assumption made Jace smile just a little. Sometimes humans surprised others in ways they could not predict. Xyra lay on the ramp trying to catch her breath. Her body was sore, her skin slick from exertion, and her pride was wounded. She did not want to cry, but the sting of humiliation was almost too much. The students continued to jeer, pointing at her and making cruel gestures. "Give up already," a tall alien shouted. "You'll never make it." "Yeah. Go home and roll around in your slime," another added. Xyra's lips trembled, but she held her ground. She wanted to show them that she could finish, even if it took all her strength. But the more she tried, the harder it seemed, and the laughter felt heavier, pressing down on her like gravity. Jace took a deep breath. He did not rush forward. He wanted to make sure Xyra could trust him. He called out softly, "Hey Xyra. Can you hold on for a moment?" Xyra looked up, startled. No one had spoken to her kindly all morning. Even the instructors had ignored her struggles. She blinked, unsure if she could trust him. The other students glanced at Jace, surprised that a human was even speaking. Who are you?" Xyra whispered. "Just someone who doesn't like bullies," Jace said. "Can I help you?" Xyra hesitated. She had spent her life learning to do things on her own. She had learned to be independent, to survive without expecting anyone to help. But Jace's voice was calm, steady, and kind. Something about it made her believe he might actually help. I don't know if it will work," she admitted. "The ramp, it's too high for me." Jace nodded. "That's okay. We'll try together." The other students stared. They had never seen a human do anything like this. Most thought humans were weak and useless in situations that required strength. Yet here was Jace, stepping forward, offering to help a limbless alien finish an obstacle that everyone else considered impossible. Without waiting for permission, Jace carefully positioned himself at the base of the ramp. He bent slightly and gestured for Xyra to climb onto his back. Xyra's eyes widened in surprise. She had never been carried like this before. It was unusual for someone to treat her so gently, as if she were important. "Are you sure?" she asked quietly. "Positive," Jace said. "Just hold on." With careful movements, Xyra shifted herself, feeling the surprising warmth and steadiness of Jace's back. His grip was firm but gentle, and she felt safe for the first time all morning. The other students gasped. Some whispered in disbelief. "He's carrying her," one muttered. "Humans can't even do half that strength stuff." Jace ignored them. He focused on the obstacle. Step by step, he climbed the ramp, keeping his balance despite the weight and the strange, shifting gravity. His muscles burned, but he did not complain. His determination was stronger than any pain. Xyra held on tightly, feeling the rhythm of his movements. She realized that she could finally relax, that someone was helping her, not mocking her. She allowed herself a small smile, a feeling she had not experienced in a long time. The bullies continued to watch, stunned. Their laughter faded as they realized that Jace was succeeding. No one had ever doubted Xyra's limitations more than they did, yet here she was, moving forward, carried by a human who refused to give up. Finally, step by step, Jace reached the top of the ramp. He gently lowered Xyra onto a flat surface. She blinked, catching her breath, feeling a strange mix of relief and amazement. "Thank you," Xyra whispered. She had never felt so seen, so supported. Jace smiled. "You don't have to thank me. Just keep going. You're stronger than you think." Around them, the other students were quiet. Some still looked shocked, some looked embarrassed, and a few even seemed to respect Jace in a way they had never respected a human before. Xyra stood tall, despite her limbless form. She felt a spark inside her, a small flame of courage that had been almost extinguished by the morning's mockery. She realized that she was not alone anymore, that someone believed in her, and that belief gave her strength. Jace stepped back, letting her move forward on her own. The field that had been filled with laughter and ridicule now felt different. A human had shown courage, kindness, and strength, and in doing so, he had changed the way everyone saw Xyra, and perhaps even humans. For the first time that morning, Xyra felt hope. And for the first time, the Academy realized that being strong did not always mean having arms or wings. Sometimes it meant having heart. The field fell silent after Jace carried Xyra to the top of the ramp. The other students were still staring, their mouths slightly open. No one had ever expected a human to do something like that. Many of them had assumed humans were weak, slow, and unremarkable. Yet here was Jace, steady and strong, helping a limbless alien complete a task that seemed impossible. Xyra blinked, still holding on to Jace's words in her mind. "You're stronger than you think," he had said. She realized that she had been stronger too just for trying in the first place. She felt a strange warmth in her chest, a feeling she had not experienced in a long time, hope. The instructor, a tall alien with silver scales, finally approached. "Well, this is unusual," he said, raising an eyebrow. "Humans rarely show this level of endurance and cooperation." Jace shrugged. "I just wanted to help." The instructor looked at the bullies who were shifting uncomfortably. "It seems the rules of the exercise are changing," he said. "Perhaps we should focus on teamwork rather than strength alone." The bullies grumbled, clearly annoyed. They had expected laughter, not respect. Xyra noticed that some of them avoided eye contact, their confidence shaken. Jace crouched slightly so Xyra could roll down from the ramp safely. She touched the ground and looked up at him with a small smile. I think I can try the rest now," she said. "Good," Jace said. "I'll be right here if you need me." Xyra nodded and began to roll across the field, her movements still slow but more confident. The other students watched, realizing that she was not just limbless, she was brave. Each roll, each push forward, showed determination that many of them had never seen before. Jace stayed close, ready to help, but he let her take the lead. He wanted her to feel proud of her own progress, not just of being carried. As Xyra moved, he noticed small things. The way her skin shimmered in the sunlight, the focus in her eyes, the tiny muscles flexing as she pushed herself forward. Humans often had to rely on cleverness and persistence rather than raw strength. Jace could see that Xyra was doing the same thing. The bullies whispered among themselves. "She's moving faster than I thought," one said almost reluctantly. "Humans really can surprise you," another muttered. By the time Xyra reached the next obstacle, a narrow balance beam hovering above the ground, the atmosphere on the field had shifted. The laughter was gone. Some students even stepped aside to give her space, unsure what to do or say. Jace stood back, ready to act if needed, but he also wanted to let Xyra feel her own success. "Careful," Jace said gently. "You've got this." Xyra rolled onto the beam, balancing herself as best as she could. Her body trembled slightly, but she kept moving forward, step by step. Every inch she advanced was a victory. The bullies, who had mocked her without mercy just moments ago, watched in silence, clearly reconsidering their judgment. Jace smiled quietly to himself. He had always known humans were underestimated. Other species rarely realized that courage, determination, and quick thinking could outweigh natural physical advantages. Today that lesson was being learned in real time. Halfway across the beam, Xyra hesitated for a moment. She glanced at Jace, who nodded encouragingly. That small gesture gave her the confidence to continue. Step by step, she moved forward until she reached the end. The field erupted, not in laughter but in murmurs of surprise and admiration. Some students even clapped softly, unsure if that was the right thing to do, but wanting to show respect. The bullies were quiet, and their faces showed the first hints of humility they had ever displayed toward a limbless alien or a human. Xyra exhaled deeply. She had done it. She had completed a part of the course that had seemed impossible. But more than that, she had earned something even more valuable: respect. And beside her, Jace's quiet presence reminded her that someone believed in her, even when everyone else doubted her. The instructor nodded slowly, clearly impressed. "Humans may not have natural advantages," he said, "but they have qualities that some of our species often underestimate: determination, empathy, and strategy." Jace shrugged modestly. "I just did what anyone should do," he said. Xyra looked at him with admiration. You believed in me," she said softly. Jace smiled. "Of course. You were worth it." That simple act, believing in her, was more powerful than any physical feat. Xyra realized that courage was not just about facing obstacles. It was also about accepting help when it came from the right place. And for the first time she felt that she did not have to face the world alone. The bullies shifted uncomfortably, and a few of the other students began to approach Xyra, offering quiet encouragement. The day's lesson was no longer just about physical skill. It was about courage, teamwork, and recognizing the strength of others, no matter their appearance or abilities. And in the corner, Jace watched quietly, knowing that the small actions of one human had begun to change the way everyone saw not just Xyra but humans as a whole. It was a small moment on a wide field, but it was the beginning of something much larger. An example of how empathy and courage could reshape expectations, challenge assumptions, and inspire others. And for Xyra, it was the first time she felt truly seen. The next obstacle was the final test of the course, a high wall that all students had to climb using their arms, legs, or other appendages. For most alien students it was an easy challenge. For Xyra it was impossible on her own. She looked up at the wall, feeling a familiar mix of fear and frustration. The bullies from earlier were nearby, smirking. "See? You can't do it," one of them sneered. "Why even try? Just give up already," another said. Xyra's body trembled, but she did not answer. She wanted to prove them wrong, but the wall was far too high. Her eyes scanned the field, and for a moment she felt hopeless. Then she saw Jace standing calmly a few meters away, watching her with steady eyes. He stepped forward. "I'll help you," he said simply. The bullies laughed. "Ah, a human? You really think he can do it?" one of them said, clearly mocking him. Jace ignored them. He knew humans were underestimated all the time, and he was used to proving others wrong. He walked to Xyra and knelt slightly so she could climb onto his back. She hesitated. "Are you sure?" she asked quietly. "Absolutely," Jace said. "Just hold on tight." With careful movements, Xyra adjusted herself. Jace felt the weight, but his human muscles were strong and steady. He had learned to endure hardship, to adapt to situations where others might fail. That training, combined with determination, made him capable of this small miracle. The other students fell silent. They had never seen a human act like this. Most thought humans were weak and unremarkable, yet here was Jace carrying a limbless alien up a vertical wall. Some began to whisper. "He's actually going to do it?" Jace placed his feet firmly on the ground and started climbing. Step by step, he moved upward, carefully keeping his balance. His arms and legs burned with effort, but he did not complain. His mind focused on one goal, helping Xyra reach the top safely. Xyra held on tightly, feeling the rhythm of his movements. For the first time, she realized that she could trust someone completely. His strength was not just physical, it was courage, determination, and kindness all rolled into one. She felt safe, and that safety gave her a strange new energy. Halfway up, one of the bullies shouted, "This is ridiculous. No one has ever done that." But Jace ignored them. He did not need approval. He only needed to focus on helping Xyra. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Jace reached the top of the wall. With careful balance, he gently lowered Xyra onto the flat surface above. She blinked, overwhelmed by relief and awe. She had made it. Not alone, but with someone who believed in her when no one else had. The field erupted, not in laughter but in astonishment. The bullies were silent, clearly embarrassed and shocked. They had expected mockery and defeat, yet all they saw was courage, teamwork, and human strength. Some of the other students even cheered quietly, inspired by what they had just witnessed. Xyra looked at Jace, her eyes shining. "Thank you," she whispered. I couldn't have done it without you." Jace smiled. "You could do anything, Xyra. You just needed a little help. That's all." The instructor approached, clearly impressed. "I have never seen this before," he said. "Humans truly possess qualities we often underestimate: endurance, determination, and empathy. You have changed the meaning of this exercise." The bullies shifted uncomfortably. They had mocked Xyra all morning, and now they realized their cruelty had been misplaced. Some looked ashamed. A few even avoided eye contact, as if acknowledging for the first time that humans could be more than they seemed. Xyra felt a spark of pride. Not just for completing the wall, but for proving something important. That strength was not only in arms, legs, or natural abilities, it was in heart, courage, and willingness to help others. Jace stayed by her side as she explored the top of the wall. "You did amazing," he said. "You carried me," Xyra replied, still in awe. I've never had anyone do that before." "You can do amazing things on your own too," Jace said. "You just need to believe it." For the first time, Xyra felt truly seen. She realized that this day, which began with ridicule and fear, had transformed into something remarkable. She had gained not only a helper but a friend, someone who believed in her strength when no one else did. Around them, the other students began to whisper among themselves. The mockery that had filled the field was gone. In its place was respect, curiosity, and a new understanding of what humans could do. The bullies looked at each other, unsure of what to say. They had expected weakness and failure, but instead they witnessed courage, strategy, and teamwork that changed their assumptions completely. Jace quietly helped Xyra down from the top of the wall and stepped back. "You did it," he said simply. Xyra smiled, a mixture of relief and pride on her face. "We did it," she corrected him, and for the first time she felt like she belonged somewhere. The field was no longer a place of fear and humiliation. It had become a place where courage and kindness could change hearts, and where one human's determination had shown that strength was not always measured by physical ability alone. And in that quiet moment, Jace knew something important. Humans might be underestimated by the universe, but their greatest power was their heart. And today that power had made a difference. After the wall, the training field felt different. The laughter and ridicule that had followed Xyra all morning had vanished, replaced by whispers of surprise and quiet admiration. The other students, even the bullies, no longer saw her as weak or helpless. They saw someone brave. And beside her stood Jace, the human who had changed everything with his actions. Xyra rolled slowly across the field, feeling stronger than she had all day. She had finished the obstacles not alone, but with someone who believed in her. Each movement felt lighter now, not because the obstacles were easier, but because she no longer felt alone. Jace walked beside her, keeping a careful eye on her. "You did amazing," he said, smiling. "I knew you could." I didn't think I could," Xyra admitted. "But you believed in me. That made the difference." Jace shrugged modestly. "Sometimes all it takes is a little help. Humans like to do that." Some of the other students, who had been silent observers, began to approach. They were cautious at first, unsure how to act. The bullies in particular looked embarrassed. They had spent the morning mocking Xyra, expecting her to fail, and now they realized they had been completely wrong. One of the taller students stepped forward. I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I didn't think anyone could do what you just did." Xyra blinked, surprised. She had expected anger, not apologies. But the sincerity in the student's voice made her feel a warmth in her chest. "Thank you," she said softly. "It's okay." Another student, smaller and scaly, added, "Humans, they're stronger than we thought. Not just in body but in heart." Jace smiled quietly, recognizing the shift in perception. For too long, humans had been underestimated in alien societies. They had been judged by appearances, size, or speed, and rarely by courage, empathy, or intelligence. Today that was changing. Xyra looked up at Jace, her eyes shining with gratitude. You didn't have to carry me," she said. "But you did." "Why?" Jace thought for a moment. "Because no one deserves to be laughed at. And because I've been underestimated too. Humans are often told we can't do something and we prove them wrong. It's kind of our thing." Xyra laughed softly, the first true laugh of the day. "Well, humans are amazing. I think I understand that now." The instructor, who had been observing silently, approached with a rare smile. "This has been an unusual morning," he said. "Not because of the obstacles but because of what you have all learned. Today we have seen courage, teamwork, and empathy. And perhaps we have learned a lesson about humans that we will not forget." The bullies looked at each other, clearly uncomfortable. They had learned the hard way that judging others without understanding their strength could lead to embarrassment. One of them muttered quietly, "Maybe humans are more than we thought." Xyra rolled forward to Jace. "Thank you again," she said. "You didn't just help me finish the course. You showed everyone that humans can be different. Better." Jace smiled. "It's not just me. It's you too. You didn't give up. That's what really matters." By the end of the day, word of what had happened spread across the academy. Students whispered about the human who had carried a limbless alien across obstacles no one thought possible. Humans, often underestimated, were suddenly seen in a new light. Some students even began to approach Jace, asking questions about humans, curious to learn more. Xyra felt a new sense of confidence. She realized that she was capable of more than she had imagined, and that she had someone who believed in her. The bond between her and Jace grew silently, a friendship built on trust, respect, and courage. The bullies, once arrogant and mocking, now avoided open confrontation with Xyra. Their laughter was replaced with cautious acknowledgement. And for the first time, the academy felt a little more united, a little more aware that strength was not always measured by appearance, size, or natural ability. As the sun began to set, Xyra and Jace stood side by side, looking out over the training fields. The light reflected off their skin, human and alien, highlighting the differences that had once made them targets for ridicule. Yet those differences now seemed smaller than the courage, determination, and heart that connected them. "This was a good day," Xyra said quietly. Jace nodded. "Yeah. Today humans showed something the universe often forgets. We can surprise you. And sometimes we can lift others in ways you never expect." Xyra smiled. "I feel like I can face anything now. And I won't forget what you did for me." Jace put a hand on his chest and nodded. "Neither will I. That's what humans do. We help. We fight. And we inspire. That's just who we are." And with that, the academy was left with a story that would be told for years. The story of a human who saw the strength in a limbless alien and helped her rise above mockery. The story of courage, empathy, and the unexpected power of humans in a universe that had often underestimated them. For Xyra, it was the start of a new chapter, one where she believed in herself. For Jace, it was proof that humans could leave a mark wherever they went. And for the Academy, it was a lesson that would not be forgotten. Sometimes heart mattered more than skill, determination more than ability, and one human could change the way everyone saw the universe.